Peace, family. So if you haven't already, don't forget like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell if you're on YouTube to be updated on new drops and content. And check us out on aboutthatonline.com for all exclusive hot low hip hop news, updates, and a lot more exclusive. So we want to look at a few of the top stories in hip hop news this week. And we're going to be starting out with the RZA from the Wu-Tang Clan, who has made some statements online in regards to what he feels about Tupac Shakur and B.I.G. Just the comparisons between the two of them as artists in terms of what they bring to the table. So, the RZA compares Tupac to Malcolm X. It's been quoted and saying that Notorious B.I.G. wasn't revolutionary in that sense with his raps. So, there's always been a huge comparison between the two, Tupac and Biggie. And this is a surprise to some people, RZA being an East Coast artist. And, a lot of people like to portray and play on the whole idea of an East-West sort of thing. So, let's see if we can find more on this statement from RZA when he sat down with the Art of Dialogue. They say that the RZA says, "You go to Pac, once again, immaculate voice, but what Pac had, I think, was a way of touching us all in his emotions, like Pac had the power to infuse your emotional thought, like Brenda has a baby, dear mama, but then he had the power to arouse the rebel in you. RZA said, invoking the two of Tupac's deepest records, he was probably more dangerous than Big, Notorious B.I.G. We could party with him to this day, but Pac, he was more going into the Malcolm X of things and society. Fears that RZA also continued to say that while B.I.G. communicated love, he wasn't starting revolutions." So let's see if we can play this quick clip on this. Yeah, for some reason this clip is giving us a little bit of difficulty. Bear with me. I'm gonna see if I can load it up by a different source. So here we see. Got it.
Like then you go to Pac, once again, immaculate voice, but what Pac had, I think, was a way of touching us on all of our emotions. And especially on, like Pac had the power to infuse your emotional thought, like Brenda has a baby, dear mama. But then he had the power to arouse the rebel in you.
Yeah.
And those two things, actually, he was probably more dangerous than Big, Notorious B.I.G. Like Notorious B.I.G., we could party with him to this day. We're still, but Pac was probably going to a point, he was more going into the Malcolm X of things, and society fears that.
Yeah, so he was really good at communicating love and at starting revolutions.
Yeah.
And that's dangerous.
Very dangerous. And Big communicated love, but he wasn't starting revolutions.
Well, it's interesting to think about what the world would be like if they were still with us, but it's the way of the world.
Then you go to Pac, once again.
Yeah, so there we see, guys, a clip from the RZA breaking things down. Let us know your thoughts on that one. I mean, would you guys agree? Do you feel as though he right in stating that? Definitely feels facts in my estimation. They credited it to the Art Dialogue, but if you see, it was another interview sit down. And then also other news, Fat Joe has chimed in, making comments in regards to DaBaby, saying he's a modern day Tupac. So what do you guys think of that? Fat Joe, they say he's raised some eyebrows with his comparison of Pac and DaBaby. A lot of people criticizing him for his remarks. But what do you guys think? They say Big Tigger asked Fat Joe to make some comparisons between 90s hip hop legends and modern day equivalents. And Tupac said, not Tupac, I'm sorry, Fat Joe said Tupac and DaBaby, and he said, I hope I could do this. He said, Tigger, you asking me some crazy stuff, before he gave his answer. He said, I should know the Tupac one. I don't know. It's hard to say. You be asking some crazy stuff. I would say DaBaby. And they say Tigger didn't really say much, but there was been an inundation of responses to people on social media saying that Joey Crack comparing the two was going too far. And some people feel he doesn't compare musically and stuff. And, have brought up some of DaBaby's derogatory comments. So, I mean, what do you guys think of this? We've seen people with varying reactions. A lot of people saying Joe's bugging out. Fat Joe, don't be the fat jabroni. You talk about DaBaby like he the Hall of Fame, but he never sold out the Madison Square Garden, so he's still the jabroni. Did Fat Joe actually say DaBaby of all people is like Tupac? Tupac was a legend. DaBaby's just a phase that will be forgotten soon. As we see an inundation of comments from people, and they say DaBaby put agreed on Instagram, but they're gonna salt that down to crack. And so I guess DaBaby, he agrees. Academics have posted it up. DaBaby says agreed, but they're gonna salt that down to crack. So yeah, what do you guys think? Do you feel it's an apt comparison? Tupac and DaBaby? Is he the modern Pac of this generation? DaBaby definitely been vocal recently in a lot of the statements and stuff that he has made. And lastly, rapper Young Thug was reported to have lost over $1 million worth of music, and now he's reportedly gonna sue his apartment complex where he lives over stolen money and songs. So hip hop artist Young Thug has sued his apartment complex, accusing its employees of letting an unknown person take his designer bag that had unreleased songs and more than 100,000 worth of jewelry and cash. It has been reported by the Atlanta Journal. So according to the lawsuit filed in the Gwinnett County Superior Court last week, Young Thug, his real name is Jeffrey Williams, returned to his home at Trace Apartments in November 2020 and left his Louis Vuitton bag beside his vehicle by mistake. They say a resident reported the bag to the apartment's employee who handles the complex concierge service, and the bag got placed in a secure location. And they notified Young Thug that they would have the bag there until he retrieves it. But they say the guy left a note instructing one of the colleagues to inform her that when they released the bag, they would know, so they would know where it was going back to. But according to the lawsuit, somebody else, another employee called Latoya Guest, retrieved the bag and gave it to an unidentified person, not noticing the manager believed that she had done so. And they say the designer bag contained about 20 unreleased songs that are worth at least $1 million and had 40,000 in cash and 94,000 worth in jewelry. The lawsuit is alleging. So this comes as JRB Peachtree and the concierge company Pegasus Residential did not respond to the inquiries about the lawsuit that accuses them of not following proper procedures and protocol to protect the rapper's property. So yeah, definitely let us know what you think on this one, guys. We'll be back next week to chew you in with a bit more hip-hop news, winding down on the update for this week. So peace. If you haven't already, don't forget, if you're on YouTube, hit that notification bell to be updated on new drops and content. Like, share, subscribe. And don't forget, you can join us over at boutdatonline.com. That's BOUTDAT online.com for more hip-hop news and hot low